Dear Lynne, I patiently wait for the sand to sink, for the water to get clear. Every now and then, I consider coming back to New York. Israel is a very small place, and in a way very isolated. Being surrounded by hostility is definitely getting to me. The hostility of war and terror, the hostility of people's aggressiveness toward each other, so much hatred. It is hard for me to become involved as an activist. For now, catching up with the headlines over coffee in the morning is enough. Every now and then, I consider coming back to New York, being a student again, carrying a camera. Hope you are well, Nir.
Dear Nir, do you ever have the feeling that the history you are experiencing has no shape? Even as a teenager, I was obsessed with histories, shifts, and ruptures. Wars helped us order time. A war established beginnings and endings. There is before, there is during, there is after. Lynne.
אז אני אעבור גם ללוויה. אני נתתי ללוויה. אם אני אהיה כזה כמו פעם. שתהיה גדול. אבל אני חשיתי. לא.
Hey, Nir.
Hi, Lynne.
Did I wake you up?
No, I'm fine.
I just wanted to tell you about this article I read today in the Times that upset me so much. It was about a woman who just reminded me of myself. Her name was Revital Ohanyan. She's a filmmaker, a mother, a teacher, and she was killed on a kibbutz, the kibbutz Metzer. Have you heard of it?
Oh yeah, it's so horrible. Have you heard the details of the story? What happened? That the terrorists got into her home when she was at home at night with her two kids and shot them when she was trying to protect their kids. And did you know that her husband heard the killing over the phone?
Oh, I'm sorry I bothered you, but
Horrible.
the story struck me, and I just wanted to talk to you about it. And maybe if you learn any more about Revital, will you tell me?
Yeah, it's important to me somehow. I will think about it and write you some more things.
All right. Bye for now.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
On my map, Metzer is not far from Jenin, only a thumb's distance from the kibbutz. Isn't Jenin a Palestinian refugee camp, a site of killings? All I know is its destruction.
November 15th, 2002. How are you, Lynne? Living in Israel is closely related to Buddhist thinking. The encounter with death is so immediate in Israel. You have to be prepared for your own death. As grim as it sounds, it's just statistics. Thoughts about death cross people's minds on a minute-to-minute basis. Imagine the terror and fear in people's mind on the other side of the green line, on the other side of the wall. Yours, Nir.
Dear Nir, I've made so many phone calls to Kibbutz Metzer. Today, I finally reached an elderly secretary. Yes, she told me, this is the kibbutz where Revital Ohanyan lived and was killed. The woman didn't seem to know more than that.
Hello, Lynne.
I wonder what they make at the
They
kibbutz
tell that
factory.
they saw Revital's
Jars of
husband.
pickles.
It was on the news, on the weekend broadcast, and they interview him about what he was going through. And since you were interested in her, I was, trying to think what he's actually going through.
So you listen to him in a different time. I have the number for her former husband, Avi Ohayon, the man who heard it all from his phone as the killing happened.
For me, usually it's very alienated, and you just, you read the news, you see what happened, but you're not, going to the families of the casualties and, ask how they feel or anything, or really putting yourself in their situation. I mean, it's hard.
Dear Lynn, did you know that this week is the Jerusalem Film Festival? Parallel to it is the Ramallah International Film Festival. Ramallah is a big city on the Palestinian side of the border. I wish I could visit to show my films and also to see film in a theater over there. I would have a drink in the local Palestinian cafe, see a life that is so close to me and yet so far away, separated and strange. It exists as the Palestinian town from the news. I can only imagine, of course, since I've never visited myself. It is quite impossible for me as an Israeli to experience Ramallah. Ramallah dreaming. Soon, Nir.
Dear Nir, I need you to somehow get your hands on her movies, and also to photograph the land for me, as Revital would have experienced it. The kibbutz, Haifa where she grew up, the northern coast, Tel Hai where she went to film school. I'm not asking you as your teacher, but as a friend. Did you know that I have never been to Israel? I missed those few moments of peace.
But who can measure the degree of inspiration? Who can measure belief?
Lynn, it sounds so sad when I read your words. I miss the few moments of peace. Like missing an old relative that passed away and will never return. I was drafting a message to you when your mail arrived. How can I describe my feelings? It's all not so clear. I remember the opening sentence from Burroughs' Naked Lunch. I can feel the heat closing in.
By now, I think I must have called at least 50 times, only to hear a series of Hebrew numbers recited to me, like a wall of digits forbidding my entrance. If Avi is not reachable, I tell myself that he wants nothing to do with me, that he is withered with sadness, or that his phone has merely been turned off. August 25th, 2003. Hi, Nir. I called Avi in Tel Aviv again this morning. Yes, he told me. She was just about to finish a film about the generation gap. There are so many gaps between us. She was only trying to fill one with her filmmaking. I've been waiting for 8 months to see her movies. Will you go to his home, ask him for the tapes, talk to him, And yes, take your camera. Tell me what happens. Lynne.
September 4th, 2003. Lynne, I was walking by myself in Kibbutz Metzer this morning. For a minute, I thought about the terrorist coming towards me. I protected myself by holding the Super 8 camera in its pistol grip, transforming it into an Uzi machine gun. Then I came back to my senses, saw an old woman hoeing her garden. Behind the double barbed wire fence, the fields spread wide open. More soon. Nir.
I mentioned this story to my friend Deborah. 30 years ago, she'd been one of those idealistic American youths looking for a new way of living communally in Israel. Deborah lived on Kibbutz Metzer in 1972, the same place, a very different time.
I don't think there's very many places where the Arab village and the kibbutz are truly living side by side. And there always was a really good relationship between the village and the kibbutz. And the very first time I had coffee was was in the village at Muhammad's mother's house. Of course, in Arab houses, you're always offered coffee and you can't say no. And I'd never drank a cup of coffee before. The kibbutz was built literally on the dividing line of the West Bank. In fact, the banana groves, we used to work in the banana groves sometimes, picking the bananas, were actually in the West Bank. And if you went to the left, you went straight into the village of Metzer, and if you went straight and kind of to the right, you went to the kibbutz Metzer. So it was really very, very close. If the Arabs from the village came to the kibbutz, there needed to be a reason for them to come to the kibbutz. Whereas if the kibbutzniks walked past the village, they were just walking towards the bus stop. Going into the West Bank then was an incredible thing. Because it was like going to a different country. I mean, this was 1973. They weren't even occupied. I mean, they were occupied in that Israel controlled them militarily, but there were no Israelis there. I mean, look at all of these villages. There are so many villages. There's tons and tons. And I bet you most of them are gone. This is all around Jerusalem. This is all Israeli now. And when they build this fence between the West Bank and Israel, it'll probably run right through those banana plantations unless they do what they probably will do, which is to end road around them so that the Israelis get the banana plantations and the Arab farmers won't be able to cultivate their crops. Here, listen to this. Israeli-Arab armistices in 1949 partitioned Palestine. Since June 1967, Israeli forces have occupied Sinai, Gaza, all of Jordan west of the Jordan River, and a small area in southwest Syria. So of course it's the all of Jordan west of the Jordan River that we're talking about. And Metzer was just on that border.
Hello, Lynn.
Hi, Nir.
I finally met Avi, Rita's husband, yes, at the kibbutz, and he brought me her tapes, and I brought my camera, and yeah, I can't wait to send you.
I can't believe it, Avi. You actually got the films,
Yeah,
and now it's been a year that I've been waiting for them.
I saw the kibbutz, and
You saw the kibbutz?
I saw a house where she was living when she got killed in the kibbutz.
She was a person that would not go in a path that someone else made or went before her. She was the kind of person that had to find the exactly right path for her. That the way of life that she believes is the only way of life that is right. That's the only way of life that is correct and right for her to live in. And so she struggled all her life to create that path. To be able to have a career and have the most amazing children and make a path that nothing would hurt the other goal. Her movie was about three girls that didn't know each other, that met in a coincidence one day, and they went together on a trip. It was the first time that each one of them realized that she doesn't like what she does in her life. All three of them are living a life that someone else dictated to them. One of them was a married woman with children. The other one had a shop. The third one was a secretary. They had to help one another, and by that they understood about themselves. Movies will not give an answer at the end of the movie, but will make you put a question mark in the right places. To think, okay, I saw, but who do I relate to? Who do I want to behave like? Who do I think made the right decision for me as a viewer? And even more, I think that the goal would be, as I know Revital, that whatever choice you make, it's the right choice.
Talking about the tune is coming back September 10th, 2003. Dear Lynn, now I'm testing my senses and trying to capture images of my living environment, sending it overseas to you, like caging wild animals. Nir.
The tune is still coming back.
I keep thinking Yossi might have been a man I've walked past on the sidewalk or rubbed elbows with on the subway. If I could actually hear the tragedy of a violent death caused by hate, the gunshot, the explosion, months later in the minds of a family member, would I be able to detect such an emotion as I sit next to a stranger?
So, where would you like me to begin?
Maybe who she was before we talk about her to you.
Who she was? I think I realized who she was I think I realized who she really was after the funeral.
So that was something you can think about. So,
there were so many people in the funeral. There was just... And then, you know, throughout the next 7 days, we were sitting Shiva.
I asked him why Revital chose to live so close to the border of the West Bank. I'm contemplating the degrees by which we measure danger. She might have wondered why I stay in New York City with my 2 girls after September 11th. What does it mean to call a place home, like a squirrel burrowed in a tree she knows is just a leap from the hole of a fox?
הנה, אני אביא לך בקרוב לנקית את זה. הכנתי בחמתי. תראי. הנה, פשוט.
תמיד נורים בקיץ לך יכול להיחף, אבל לא עכשיו. טוב? תביאי לפה ואני עוזרת לך. אני עוזרת לך.
המפגש שלך!
אוי, אני רוצה...
נו,
יהודי גם אתה. עומר, אנחנו אתמול בלוויה של נתן ורבקה, אמא שלהם. רק עם אצבע, ואל תמיד אצבע, כי אולי אני שואלת מה שאתם לא יודעים. רגע, רק עם אצבע, אתם יודעים מה זה לוויה?
אני יודע.
רגע, מורי, מה זה לוויה?
זה מישהו שרוצים לשבור אותו
לוויה זה משהו שבא מהמילה ללוות. אתם יודעים את מי מלווים?
את איציק.
I met a girl in summer camp in 1971. She was tall, lanky with blonde hair, very nice, quiet. One August afternoon around my birthday, she confided to me that her father had been shot down in an Air Force plane in Vietnam. It was as if she'd told me that she had leprosy. I was so terrified I really couldn't talk to her or even stand near her the rest of the summer.
הקבר הוא רק מהאדמה.
הוא באדמה.
וגם מי שמתת לא משאירים אותו בבית ככה.
לא משאירים בן אדם מת בבית.
כי יהיה להם עצמם.
רגע. אז מה עושים לנועם?
כי אז הרבה דם נוזל וצריך ללכת לכל מקומות לחפש דם.
אז מי שמת לא משאירים אותו בבית. אתם יודעים מה כן עושים? כן, מניחים אותו.
אני לא יודעת מה צריך לעשות בקבר.
עומר, מה עושים בקבר?
צריך לחפור בו רבות, לעשות שמת, ואז לחזור בחזרה, לשים את החול, ולשים כזה שלט כזה.
ואתם יודעים מה מכסים? עידו, אתה זוכר?
עם שלט כזה.
כשקוברים מישהו, מה מכסים? עם המון מה?
חול.
ועל זה?
אדמה.
המון.
אדמה. וגם
מה עוד?
כזה שלט כזה.
שמים שלט.
זה ממש אותו דבר כמו הזרעים של העברים. ואז חושבים את השבי. אותו דבר ממש מהזרעים של העברים.
מכסים כמו את הזרעים של ה... אבל... רגע. עכשיו...
הייתי בטלוויזיה, היית מחבל.
ראית את הטלוויזיה במחבל?
כן. אני גם שמעתי חדשות. אני ראיתי אבל משהו שלא קרה אבל משהו שמאוד מצחיק במחבל. ראיתי שאמרו לו שיש לו מוח של אפרוח בשכל של כלב.
אתם יודעים, רגע, אתם יודעים, אנחנו צריכים, אתם יודעים שיש לנו פה דברים של מתן ונועם. יש לנו פה את המסתרות, את המיטה, את המוציצים. מה הוא אומר?
Kibbutz Mesa always enjoyed good relations with neighboring Arab villages. In 50 years, there was no real trouble here. Arabs from nearby villages were at the funerals, mourning their Jewish neighbors, well aware that their friendship might have been the reason Metza was targeted for terror. Arabs said the gunman accomplished nothing at all.
Every act like that against Israeli civilians, against children, against women, it's not serve the Palestinian issue.
Now is the month of Elul, a time of repentance and reconciliation, before Yom Kippur. Yamim Noraim, days of awe, an intense period of prayer, slichot, a request for forgiveness. There is this custom of lighting Ner Neshama, a soul candle, on Yom Kippur. A candle for the dead that lasts for 24 hours. Yona Volach wrote about it. My awareness is fading away like a soul candle. I like the way her poem sounds in Hebrew. הנשמה שלי נמוגה כמו נרות נשמה בערב יום כיפור. I wonder what this all means to you. Today I started to read Allen Ginsberg's Kaddish. Do you know it? I got the book a long time ago for 99 cents on St. Mark's Place. Why did I start reading it all of a sudden?
And your memory in my head 3 years after, and read Adonias's last triumphant stanzas aloud, wept, realizing how we suffer and how death is that rhythm.
וחוץ מזה הוא סתם אומר את זה כדי להרגיז אותך, הוא יודע שאתה מתעצבן מזה. חוץ מזה אני תמיד אהיה חברה שלך. לעולמי עולמים. אבל גם נועם אומר את זה סתם, אתה יודע את זה. אתה יודע שהוא סתם אוהב להתווכח כל דבר.
She was lucky to go with them.
שיתווכח.
And maybe even luck was not an issue here because there is no other way. I mean, there is no possibility that they would have gone without her or that she would have gone without them. All three of them were one all the time.
לא, היא מלקקת אותי באוזן.
אני מנשקת אותך.
February 24th, 2004. Nir. This morning I finally met Revital's mother at Yossi's apartment here in New York. She offered me a delicious cup of berry tea she brought from her home in Haifa. It's divine, with such a powerful aroma like walking in a field.
היא האמינה שכל מה שקורה זה לא צריך לקרות. הכי חשוב שהשלום ישכון בינינו ושאנחנו בסך הכל בני אדם והאופי שלה, היא אהבה, זה לא היה רק לעולם, זה היה בשביל כל אחד. היא אהבה לתת מעצמה לכולם. זה לא היה רק בשביל השלום, זאת הייתה רויטל. היא אהבה לתת, לא לקחת, לתת כל הזמן. לדאוג לכולם, לתת לכולם. לדאוג לעולם, לדאוג בצבא, לדאוג במקומות העבודה. היא אהבה את הפרפקט, אמרתי את זה וזה שייך לה. היא כל כך רצתה שהכל יהיה מושלם בעולם הזה. רצתה עולם מושלם.
So I asked her, I said, how could you possibly live in this country? I mean, this constant stress is just unbelievable. And she just created her own bubble, and she lives in that bubble with her two little boys, and she blocked herself to the environment, and she moved to that little kibbutz where she has a little garden, and they plant trees and flowers, and she doesn't read the news, she doesn't watch the news. Unless something close happened to them, the rest she's just oblivious to it. She just doesn't want to know. That Passover was one of the bloodiest time of the Intifada, of the uprising. There was terror attack almost on a daily basis, sometimes twice a day. How can you raise kids, and how can you raise your two kids in this kind of atmosphere? They knew so much about what was going on. She tried to keep herself separated from this whole craziness, and yet she ended up being a casualty of war.
קודם כל, תראה, אנחנו לא ראינו את התמונות, אבל הצורה שהיא הספיקה לרוץ, קודם כל שזה קרה בתוך הבית שלה, אוקיי? מזה שהוא קפץ מהחלון לתוך החדר האינטימי שלהם, החלק האינטימי בחיים של כל בן אדם, זה אחד. ובית הצורה שהיא הגנה לילדים שלה עם הגוף שלה, זה מה שאני מבינה מאנשים, כי אנחנו לא ראינו ולא רוצים לפרט לנו את הרגעים האלה. אבל הצורה הזאת, כנראה שזה היה משהו מאוד 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 אכזרי. והצרחות שהיא ביקשה ממנו, תהרוג אותי ואל תהרוג את הילדים שלי. זה מה ששמעו השכנים ברקע. וזהו, הצורה שהיא מצאו אותה מחובקת עם הילדים שלה, שהיא נתנה להם, שמרה עליהם בגוף שלהם. זה הדבר הכי טרגי שזיזע את כל העולם. בגלל שכך אני חושבת, אני הבנתי ששר החוץ שלנו הפיץ את התמונות לעולם כדי שיראו את הזוועה. הייתה נוסעת פעמיים בחודש למדבר יהודה בשביל ללמוד על השואלים ועל הזאבים. והייתה עם מצלמות, מצליטה, היא לא הייתה באזור של התקשורת בכלל לא היה לה קשר לתקשורת, אבל הייתה הולכת ומצלמת. התפנית הייתה כאן בעצם בגלל הטבע, בגלל שהייתה בחברה להגנת הטבע, ובגלל שעשתה תצפיות הרי בתת ימי בים, היא עשתה באילת, היא למדה על דגים, זה היה פרויקט בעצם.
תקפצו לי! 3 שעות אני מחפשת אתכם ואתם באים להגיד לי שנהרס הטיול? תעשו מה שאתם רוצים, אני ממשיכה לבד.
זץ! רק רגע, מה את עושה?
תפתחו לי העיניים, תודה רבה לכם.
The way is still opening.
מצפים עוד לך, עובר
I keep growing here in Israel. Many things I would like to talk to you about. Did you know that a few days ago, the murderer of Revital was killed by the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force? I actually saw Avi Ochayon, Revital's husband, a few times on TV today. The circle of grief hasn't finished turning. I learn and watch new aspects of reality every day. By living in my small environment, I hope to generate a wave of sanity. I start inwards, then I hope to get it out there one day. Hope you are well. Nir.
Dear Nir, I've been to Bosnia and Vietnam with my camera, made films there, looking for telltale signs of conflicts I'd never known. But those wars were over by the time I got there. The difference between the peacefulness of the images you're sending me and the hostility simmering outside the frame is so apparent to me. Are you trying to protect me, Nir? The bombing of a tourist hotel in the Sinai a few months ago, the destruction of a home in the West Bank, the explosion yesterday in a Tel Aviv nightclub. If I buy a ticket at all, it will be within the next few days. Lynne.
Today is Tu B'Shvat, the birthday of the trees. An almond tree is blooming on Rothschild's Boulevard. It has white flowers and a really sweet smell. I think that the olive tree grows very slowly. It has a long history here in Israel. Some have been here since before the country was even established. It has a very unique trunk, like sculpture, the color of bronze. The branch itself is mentioned in the Bible. In the forest there are cypress and pine, and it seems as if they've been there forever. But in reality, they were planted by a foundation, the making of a forest. A nation established, the concept of a nation to stay, marking territory. My Bible teacher used to point to Jewish law. If a soldier needs to cut down an olive tree, he must have a permission from a very high-ranked officer in the army. In my head, I compare the status of a person and a tree. You don't need special permission to shoot someone if there is a threat, but you need a high authority to damage an olive tree. Olive is the color of the soldier's uniform.
My children were 4 and 5. They loved to hear the muezzin from the villages next to Metzo.
Some go through the bottom, others go over the top, or squeeze through the middle of the wall Israel's building to stop suicide bombers from getting into Jerusalem. So far, all the wall does, say the Palestinians of Abu Dis, where the wall cuts their village in half, is ruin their lives. Israel's plan is for a combined wall and fence to run about 350 miles around most of the West Bank. Patrolled by police jeeps, this part will run 38 miles near eastern Jerusalem with electronic sensors. Rauda Audi, who has breast cancer, must sneak through the wall to get to her clinic and to get to work. But it'll get worse. One day she won't even be able to do that.
They are torturing us. They are forcing us to hate them. And it is a very bad thing.
It has to be a better way than to to split a village.
Eventually, the wall won't only split Abu Dis, and it won't only cut Palestinians off from Israel. Through large parts of the West Bank, it'll cut Palestinians off from Palestinians. Martin Fletcher, NBC News.
أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله.
This is the land that devours its own. I've read and read again in the Bible. The land of hyenas and jackals and doves, perpetually dry or consumed by water. It is a land I know now, but only anciently. At last, I can follow the green line with my finger, but I have yet to feel its actual bumps and crevices.
When I was 14 years old, I took a trip with a summer camp to Ein Gedi, a nature preserve in the desert next to the Dead Sea. Our bus stopped at a slaughterhouse to pick up a box filled with little, weak, yellow chicks. As the sun was going down, we drove into the wilderness of the desert. In the darkness, we let the chicks loose and stepped away. Then we illuminated the area with light and waited with binoculars. The night animals started to show up. First the wolves, then the foxes, and when they were done, the hyenas and the vultures came to eat the leftovers. Nir.
I've been reading the Bible incessantly, compulsively, looking for those few phrases that might give credence to a landscape that makes normal people go mad.
Last summer they went to the seashore with Revital. There was a fight between Arabs and Israelis at the beach. One of the guys from the Arab group was hurt and he was bleeding. He ran to the parking lot where Revital and the children just arrived. She immediately started to call. She rushed him in the car and took him to the hospital. When I heard about it, when she told me what happened, I asked her, "Are you crazy?"
The Palestinian territories, people were weeping.
15-year-old Ali Kosher was shot last April in Ramallah while on his way to buy bread for his sister's family. No one was throwing stones, nothing, recalls his sister Khulud. Most people were still inside.
קודם כל זאת ילדה שהיא לא עברה ילדות, היא נולדה בוגרת. נולדה בוגרת והיא עברה מהתינוקיות, כמו שאומרים, ישר לנערות, ישר לבגרות. אצלה לא היו דברים ביניים. אצלה כשהייתה צריכה להתחיל משהו, הייתה חייבת לעשות אותו פרפקט. ולא היו פשרות אצלה. לא היה דבר כזה אצלה פשרות ולדלג על דברים.
February 27th, 2005. Nir. I'm watching Haifa now, imagining Revital's childhood in this city, the place where you've told me a Jewish girl and an Arab girl might have played together. Bombs are exploding everywhere this afternoon. The sound is deafening, but I can't hear a thing. Israel, Istanbul, Iraq. Any shake-up on the surface of the earth dislodges my sense of equilibrium. Newspapers drape us with the numbers of another person's death. When scanning a page of horrors, I do not grope for mirrors, an open window onto the spectacle of killing. A gust of wind, and I almost smell it. Lynne.
אנחנו יודעים שהם של נוער ואנחנו מסתכלים מדי פעם, אני מגיעה לביתה, אני מסתכלת, ואז זה עושה לי הרגשה עצובה, אז אני הולכת לשכוח. עדיין נראה אותם בחדשות.
רגע, אנחנו עוד כמה לא נראה אותם בחדשות. תקשיבו מה שנור אומרת. רגע, לא, אני רוצה שתקשיבי רגע. רגע, אני רוצה גם שתקשיבו רגע. נור אומרת שהיא לא יכולה שהדברים של מתן כל הזמן מתחת למיטה שלה, כי זה כל הזמן מזכיר לה וכל הזמן עצוב לה. ובאיזשהו שלב צריך להיפרד, הגיע הזמן שאנחנו צריכים להיפרד ולאסוף את הדברים של נור ומתן. מה אתם חושבים שאנחנו יכולים לעשות עם הדברים האלו בעצם?
אני חושבת... אבל אני חשבתי לה באמצע.
רגע, גאיה.
מה חושבת? אני יודעת מה הזכיר לנו את נועם ומתן, החיות.
החיות שלהם. אנחנו צריכים לשאול, אני עוד לא שאלתי את אבא שלהם מה הוא רוצה לעשות עם החיות.
ואם אפשר לתת לאבא שלהם שהוא יסיר את זה בבית שלו, כי אי אפשר להסיר את זה שם בחוץ בבית שלו.
The pain is so big, but still you do not know where to put it, because you don't know that kind of pain. You never felt it before. I never felt it before. I couldn't relate to it in myself because I didn't know where to put it. It's a different kind of pain that you don't know from before.
כל פעם שהיה, גם בלוויה ובחודש וב-11 חודש, היו לנו גשומים, כשהיינו מגיעים לבית העלמין, אז יש לנו פוסק.
It happened to us in the funeral, happened to us in the 7 days in the unveiling, and it also happened in the 11 months. And the day of the anniversary, we went to the cemetery and we did the rain stuff, we did the whole ritual. And then 3 pigeons actually landed on the stone, on the tombstone. While we, saying the prayer, for the
like
anniversary.
a message for her.
It was like a message from my sister, I guess. Sister sending 3 doves into the tombstone.
March 1st, 2005. I've stopped watching television altogether, Nir. I have a rock to put on her grave. I arrive in Tel Aviv on Wednesday at 3:55 p.m. Lynne.
There are hundreds of religious men marching down the street and chanting loudly. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I hear it. I don't get it though. It's like a chaos. I can't figure out what does it mean here.
You know, the Shabbat is already here and there's something alarming about it. It's like the right wing blocked the highway on Tuesday, and tomorrow the left wing is having a demonstration for supporting the disengagement.
When I'm just standing here, it's so quiet.
Usually there is something very special about Shabbat evening. Everything becomes really quiet and there is not much cars.
Three birds are flying around the tombstones. We just finished a 30 days mourning period. Tombstones. So it was raining that day, and actually it was like a message from my sister, I guess. Sister sending 3 doves into the tombstone. By the time we got home, we received a phone call from the military spokeswoman who gave us the good. I don't know if it's good, but gave us the news that the murderer, the guy who murdered my sister and my 2 nephews, was ambushed and killed.
I had to suffer the loss of all 3 of them. To start understanding what you already knew. It's like the place where you're coming from trying to do something that is very personal. When you see those pictures coming from Israel each and every day, you stop looking at it as something that happens to people, and you start approaching it as a big thing that goes somewhere over at a small corner of the world, but there's people involved. if the geographic farness makes you numb and you can't feel it, it will reach you too. It'll happen in Iraq, in Iran, in Syria, in New York, in Madrid, in Ireland, wherever. And it'll only stop when we will start going back to our feelings and try to relate to the fact that there is a person that could have been my friend, that could have been the brother or sister of someone who just rode with me at the subway. And it could be me.
Dear Nir, I cannot remember if the sun shone or if I was wearing a sweater or if I had a cup of tea in my hand when I picked up the newspaper on November 11th, 2002. I only know for certain that my eyes caught sight of anguish. My daughters heard the story of Abraham and his 2 sons this morning for Rosh Hashanah. Do you remember that story?
Abraham wanted a child so badly. He and his wife Sarah were both 100 years old, and there didn't seem to be a chance. So Abraham decided to take matters into his own hands. He had a son with Hagar, the Egyptian maid. They named him Ishmael. Then, miraculously, Sarah too became pregnant and gave birth to Abraham's second son, Isaac. Sarah was jealous of Hagar, whose son would always be able to lay claim to being Abraham's firstborn. So Abraham asked God to send Hagar and her baby boy to a far-off land. God said to Abraham, "I will make the son of the maidservant into a nation." Since his son had to go in the desert, he must have been really sort of mad.
Who was mad?
Abraham.
Abraham was mad?
Because his son had to go in the desert.
Yeah. And how do you think the brothers felt that they were separated?
How do you think?
I think they could have gotten along and lived in the same house together, even though they both had different mothers.
Who sent them into the desert?
All the best, Lynn.